everybody, this is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat here at Levi Stadium, where the 49ers wrapped up day 18 of training camp. Let's go ahead and go through what we saw today. It was a little bit of an uneven day today for Trey Lance. The positive, though, was a bounce-back day of sorts. Yesterday during Monday's practice, Lance had 3 interceptions. Today, he only had 1. During the final practice before heading out to Houston for the preseason finale, Lance completed 9 of 17 passes with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The best throw of the day from Lance was a connection deep down the right sideline to Deebo Samuel. On that route, Deebo Samuel was actually coming out of the backfield. He's working out of the backfield, which put him one-on-one with the safety, Tarvarius Moore. Samuel was able to outrun Moore down the right sideline. Lance put it right on the money for a big gain down the right sideline. And then when they moved into a red zone period later on in practice, Lance opened up that by completing a pair of short passes to Samuel. One of them on a little choice route out to the right side, the second on a route for Samuel coming out of the backfield that got him down to the 5-yard line. And then from the 5, Lance hit George Kittle on an out route to the right side. It was a nice ball. It was a little high, but he showed terrific anticipation. He was able to fit it in there. He was well covered, was Kittle, but the ball was just high enough for him to be able to outreach the defender and come down with a catch for the touchdown. So really nice start there for Lance. There were a couple of drop passes on the day, one by Brandon Ayuk, who was running a short route on the right side, and then another by George Kittle down the middle on a throw that forced him to kind of twist for the ball. Think of the play from the playoff game against Green Bay, where Kittle's running deep down the middle of the field, and Garoppolo hits him in the hands and he drops it. It wasn't quite like that. He wasn't running. He had to go down to catch the ball a little bit. It wasn't an awful pass, but it wasn't a perfect pass either. It was kind of in between. So you get the incompletion there. So you get a couple of drops. There was another one that I've seen talked about as a drop to Jermichael Hasty in the right flat. From where I was standing, it didn't look like a drop. It looked like that ball was too far out in front of him and just barely touched his fingertips. And it's too bad because Hasty had gotten out. He was wide open on the right flat. There was a little bit of a congestion there. Diamondre Lenore was playing nickel, had to run across the formation, got caught up with the linebackers. He wouldn't have been able to make the play if the pass had been accurate. And then you had another one, from Lance. He had a couple of inaccurate throws. The one there that I mentioned to Jermichael Hasty. There was a pass behind Deebo Samuel later on. And then he also had George Kittle open in the back right corner of the end zone. And the ball was just too high, went off of his fingertips for an incompletion. So a little bit of an up and down day there. And then there was the interception. The interception came on 3rd and goal from the 6. Lance tried to force the ball into Kittle. Greenlaw had good coverage underneath. He was able to get up, get his hands on it for the takeaway. So those were kind of the highlights and lowlights of the day for Trey Lance. It really seemed like footwork was a point of emphasis today. Brian Greasy at one point stopped Lance and talked to him about his footwork on a quick throw. And then when they were having him do some movement stuff, he stopped him again to talk about his footwork. And then after a play in which Lance scrambled, Kyle Shanahan pulled him to the back and talked to him about something there, kind of with his footwork. It looked like he might have been hitching a little bit too much. So it definitely seemed like footwork was a point of emphasis today for Trey Lance from the coaching staff. And like I said, it was up and down. 9 of 17 kind of shows you that. He had a couple of bad passes. He had a couple of drops, had a touchdown, had an interception. So it was about it was kind of what we've seen from Trey Lance for the majority of training camp. Some good, some bad. It is what it is. A couple of folks really quick over in the comments section. We got Moses in the house. He says, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you as well, Moses. Lucas, who is a member of the Toolbox, that's why he has the $ next to him, and he also comes to us all the way from Austria. Says, hey, Jack, good to have you on board, Lucas. We got Z, who says, sup, Jack. And then Peter Mua, also in the house. He says, how's it going, Jack? It's good. It was a good day at practice today. I think this is probably going to be the final practice of training camp. The 49ers have their final preseason game coming up on Thursday. And then we get into there's a long break before all of their roster cuts have to be made next Tuesday. So there's a 3-day break. I'm not sure if there'll be any practice sessions or what the team's going to be doing in that interim. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's a good day. KC Turtle 41 wants to know how Jason Poe looked today. Poe looked good. Let's just get in. I'll just go ahead and write down to him what I wrote about him today. I've said a number of times on my streams that I feel like Jason Poe is the guy who's grown the most of all the guys from the first day that I saw him out here during rookie minicamp till now. The growth for Jason Poe has been incredible. And the undrafted free agent seems to have impressed offensive line Chris Verster enough to earn some snaps with the starters. I know he got some yesterday. He got some again today. And Kyle Shanahan was asked about it. And he said that's really all about what Chris Verster wants to do as far as rotating those guys in. So it's good news that Poe is impressing his offensive line coach enough to earn some reps with the starters. Although Aaron Banks continues to be the first man up there, Poe's shown enough to at least get rotated in, and he shows explosiveness with his ability to get up to the second level in the run game. Saw that a couple of times today. He's just so quick getting off the ball, getting up to those linebackers. It's very good. And then as a pass blocker, it's really hard to beat Poe because, playing in the trenches, a lot of it's about leverage. And he's so short that he just has natural leverage that he possesses due to his lack of height. And I thought it was an overall good day for Poe. He had one play in which he got beat to the inside, but other than that, for the most part, I thought it was a solid day for Poe. So another good solid day for him as well. The Sentinel wants to know, who do you think is the front runner for center at this point? I think it's going to be Jake Brendel at this point. As far as the front runner there, he's been the guy getting all the run with the ones. I know Daniel Brunskill's out, but he's kind of been the guy that's been getting all those snaps, and we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that center position when Daniel Brunskill comes back. I will say this: Daniel Brunskill was on the field today, working on the side field, snapping some balls, not to the 49ers current quarterback, but he was snapping some balls to Jimmy Garoppolo, who was working on the side field here. He did some shotgun snaps to Garoppolo, did a few from under center as well. So not too bad there. He's coming around. We'll see how that position plays out. I do think, though, it's going to be Brendel week one. As starter, I can be wrong. Rohan asked the question, did Poe get first team reps? Yes. Jason Poe did get some reps with the first team today. Aaron Banks got the first group, like the first set of them, and then they rotated in Poe a little bit after that. William Handy wants to know, do I see Womack starting opposite of Mosley if Travis Ward isn't ready? I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far yet. I really like what Womack brings to the table. Diamondre Lenoir, we're going to get to him in a minute. He's been really good as well, though. And so right now, Diamondre Lenoir is the guy that is starting opposite of Mosley. I think that's probably the direction that they're going to take. They'll probably go with Lenoir first, and then they'll go to Mosley second, to Womack second. I don't know. We'll see how that one plays out. That's going to be an interesting development there. But since you mentioned Diamondre Lenoir, it's interesting because he had a rough start to his career with the 49ers. He got pushed into the starting role week 2 after Jason Verrett got injured last year. He struggled quite a bit especially with the deep ball. He had a little bit of a slow start, I thought, this year to training camp as well. But he's started to show consistent improvement over the last couple of weeks. And today he replaced Ken Crawley with the first team defense. Crawley is a veteran the 49ers had just picked up not too long ago, and he had moved into that starting role. Lenoir has been showing some good stuff, and then also played well against the Vikings. And so it looks like he's kind of earned his way back into the starting lineup, which really would put him probably third. You'd have if Travis Ward is healthy, he's making that start instead. But it's good to see Lenoir getting that run. And then also, Lenoir's a guy who focused solely on the outside as a rookie. And we've seen him start to get some work in the slot this year as well. Kind of really since the 49ers got rid of Darqueze Dennard. Once that transaction was made, we saw Lenoir get a lot more work in the slot, working with Sam Womack and defense coordinator D'Amico Ryans on some zone stuff one day. And I don't know. To me, it looks like Lenoir's really coming around. It seems like he's starting to find his footing. You've got the 2 draft picks from last year, Ambry Thomas and Diamondre Lenoir, and Lenoir's stock is going up. Meanwhile, you have the stock for Ambry Thomas going down. So. Rohan wants to know if there's anybody else getting first team reps at offensive lineman among backups. No, it was only Poe that was rotating in there. You have the other backup that was getting the reps. I guess you would call him a backup. Would be Colton McKivitz, but Colton McKivitz is getting all the reps over at right tackle with Mike McGlinchey out. McGlinchey was out here today also working on the side field. You could tell that he wasn't 100% by the way he was walking. So we'll see where he is. Kyle Shanahan today did not make any kind of judgment one way or another whether on if McGlinchey would be playing week 1. That still definitely remains to be a question. So we'll see how that all works out as they get into it. But right now, Colton McKivitz would be the starter at right tackle. McKivitz started there week 18 in a winter go home game for the Friars in Los Angeles. So the Friars seem to have a lot of belief in him, and we saw the Friars do very well with a backup right tackle last year. So we'll see how it all plays out for the offensive line. Moses wants to ask, how is Lenore's footwork? Is Lenore hip to hip? I think Lenore's footwork looks good. Lenore's looked good. He's looked a lot better over the last couple of weeks, about a week and a half or so. And from some of the footage I saw of him in Minnesota was a little up and down, but then you look at what he did in the game, and it was pretty good there. So I think it's a positive. William Handy with the super chat. Thank you very much, William. I appreciate it. He says, thanks for the work, Jack. Off to the night shift. Love my Niner fam. See you all the 11th of September. Awesome, William. Thank you very much for the super chat, and have a good night at work. Thank you very much. And yeah, definitely we'll see you on the 11th. There'll be a lot of stuff before then, so don't forget to tune in. And this is true. This is true. Rohan says Shanahan seemed to dismiss the Poe starter idea. Do you personally think anything about it? Jason Poe's a good player. He might eventually be the starter. He's not going to start week 1. It's going to be Aaron Banks to start the season. That's why they drafted him in the second round. There are a lot of things to like about Poe. I don't think he's ready to play right now. If you watch him closely, there's misses that he's making, just like there's misses that Aaron Banks is missing. There's some, so it's kind of a 6-1, half dozen of the other when you look at those two guys. I think that Poe is much quicker. He's sometimes a little bit sturdier against the run. Aaron Banks, I don't think Aaron Banks is as bad as people want to make him out to be. I don't think he's been fantastic either, but I don't think he's bad as some people are trying to paint him as. We'll see. Remember now, Banks has only played in 3 games in the NFL. He played week 1 of preseason last year, and he's made 2 preseason starts this season. So he has a lot of growth to get through, and we're going to be watching that take place. I don't think we're going to see Jason Poe starting in place of Aaron Banks anytime soon. That's true. All of them do. That's one of the things about the 49ers is that they have guys who really work together on their craft. Like today, just walking around to get ready for the team period. You had Drake Jackson working on some pass rush moves, and Samson Ebicom's teaching them up. And that's a funny one because Ebicom and Drake Jackson are they're teammates, but they're also competitors in terms of wanting to start, and to see them sharing the information together, it's good. And you see that throughout the roster. It's good stuff with the 49ers. Thank you for the reminder, Bryant. He's a member of the Toolbox, and he says smash that like button, everyone. If you can, that'd be fantastic. If you like what you're seeing and you like the reporting that you're hearing, just like me in general, that'd be great too. But if you guys could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, really appreciate it. As far as Jason Poe, one last thing Rohan wants to say. Personally, think he's getting close, if not already, to a lock for the 53. Could be them testing him at guard for versatility and him seeing reps at center later on. More comfortable at center from college. I think they're just trying to get him in as situations impossible and seeing how he's going to be able to handle it. I think that's the thing. That's kind of why I want to see Jordan Mason get some run with the starters. He's so good when you get him on the field. I'd like to see what he can do when he's out there with the starting group. So I do agree with you. I do think that Poe's right there. He's right on the bubble. I'm not going to say he's a lock, but I think he's close. The Sentinel asks, based on the information currently, what do you think happens with the backup quarterback situation? Purdy over Sudfeld or something even more spicy like Jimmy G being a backup? Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't practiced with the 49ers at all during training camp. So the thought of Jimmy Garoppolo being the backup, I don't see that happening at all. I think it's going to be Nate Sudfeld. I think Nate Sudfeld is ahead of Brock Purdy in my opinion. Sudfeld had a beautiful deep ball today down the right sideline, just dropped it right in the bucket. I don't know. The only reason, I think, here's the thing. I think the thing when you look at Sudfeld, I think the reason people don't like Sudfeld is they've seen him struggle in an actual NFL game, right? They've seen him when he was with the Eagles go out and stink on a Sunday night that cost the Eagles a game and cost the head coach his position and all those kind of things. So in that battle for the backup, Brock Purdy is kind of like the backup in that situation, and everybody loves the backup. Everybody loves the guy that they haven't seen play until they see him play a bunch. I like what I see of Brock Purdy. I think he's got all of the tools to become a solid backup down the road. But right now with Nate Sudfeld on the team, I think he's a best number 3. That's my opinion on that, the way that plays out. Thea Robbie says, Jack, through all of camp, who do you see becoming or has become the heart and soul of the team in regards to leadership? I think the leaders on this team, you've got a bunch. You've got Trey Lance as a leader on the offensive side of the ball. They're a lot quieter over on the offensive side of the ball. That's one thing. But you got Trey Lance and Kyle Juszczyk, Trent Williams. Those guys are the main leaders on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, you've got guys like Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward. Those are usually the guys that are the I would say are the top leaders. And I agree with 420 Savage, who says that Sudfeld looks good this year, and he does. He's looked good throughout training camp. He's looked good. He's had a lot more positives than negatives. He's had a couple of bad throws here and there, but for the most part, I felt like Nate Sudfeld has been exactly what you're looking for in a backup quarterback. You're looking for a guy, if your starter goes down, can just kind of keep things rolling. I think that Sudfeld has the ability to go in there and be efficient, move the team. I like what Brock Purdy can do as well. I just don't know if he makes the 53-man or if the 49ers decide that they're going to go do things a little bit differently this year and go back to what they did in 2020 where they keep 3. So we'll see how that all plays out. Getting back to the day really quick, we talked about Deommodore Lenoir. We talked a lot about Jason Poe. Got to talk about Dre Greenlaw as well. Greenlaw is all over the field today. In addition to the interception that I talked about earlier of the pass from Trey Lance, he made several stops against the run, including dropping Jeff Wilson Jr. at the line of scrimmage during the move the ball period. He did a really nice job on that one, breaking through, got to Wilson and dropped him right there. Would have been a tackle for no gain on the play. So really nice overall day for Greenlaw. He was around the ball quite a bit. The same thing with Eric Armstead. Armstead returned to practice last week in Minnesota on a limited basis. Yesterday was his first practice fully, working with the team all the way through. Tuesday showed up well. He dropped Jeff Wilson Jr. for a loss of 2 on a run play during move the ball, and then he helped collapse the pocket around Trey Lance on several occasions. There was pressure every time the 49ers defense generated pressure on Trey Lance. It seemed like Eric Armstead was on the field and a part of it. So it's good to see. Armstead missed a lot of practice during training camp with the injury, the leg injury, but it's good to see him coming back, and he's going to be. I think he's going to be. He's on pace to have a really solid year. Seeing him and Javon Kinlaw lined up next to each other, that's a big middle of the line for the 49ers defense. I think that's going to cause some problems for opposing offenses with their ability to generate some pressure, get their hands up in the air, knock some passes down, be able to get some pushing up the middle and help out Ebicom and Jake Jackson and then obviously Nick Bosa as well. Nick Bosa didn't practice. Well, he practiced but didn't practice. He went through all the individual work and the group work, but he did not get on the field for team. So Nick Bosa was on the field but did not participate in the team portion of practice. Instead, that was extra reps for Drake Jackson and Samson Ebukam. So that's good for those guys as well. But no practice today for Nick Bosa in terms of team period. Samuel Womack, I talked about him earlier. I've been really impressed with Sam Womack, the rookie 5th-round pick out of Toledo. He spent most of his time during training camp working in the slot, but we're now starting to see him get reps out on the outside as well. Today he was lined up on the right side. They had motioned Kyle Juszczyk out that way, so he was covering Juszczyk. Lance threw the ball out there, and I thought it was going to be an interception by Womack. I don't really know how he missed that. It should have been a pick going the other way. Just I think he went through his hands and he missed it. But Womack, he's a really impressive guy. I'm telling you, this is a guy who Cal Shanahan talked about early in training camp about how the outside corners have to be especially fast. The slots, you can get away with it, be a little bit slower in there because of the use of leverage and so on. But Womack's one of those guys. He's got the speed to handle the outside responsibility, and then when you put him on the inside, it's just even added because you add in the leverage play and all those kind of things. Womack started to fit well against the run game, so I think that Sam Womack is really climbing up there, probably to be the third best defensive back on the 49ers team. Then we have Deebo Samuel. Got to talk real quick about Deebo Samuel. He continues to get steady work as a wide back. You continue to see him working out a wide receiver and working in the backfield. Today he was targeted 6 times, coming away with 4 receptions, including a long pass down the right sideline that I mentioned earlier. Outside of that one shot play, though, what we saw primarily was Samuel working underneath routes, and he was working those from either end of the slot or out of the backfield. So not a whole lot down the field. He had another incompletion on a throw from Nate Sudfeld. He was running an over route, so it's kind of a deeper route, about 15 yards. It's a crossing pattern, becomes like an out route, but you're working from the opposite side of the field. And that was an incompletion. That was just a bad throw. He was somewhat well covered on that one. But we see a lot of Deebo Samuel working out of the backfield and working out of the slot, catching balls underneath today. And then that takes us to George Kittle. Kittle was targeted 4 times. He had the 1 touchdown during the red zone period. When you look at it, and the 2 incompletions that he had should have been big plays. Both of them should have been big plays. The one open down the middle, that pass just needs to be a little bit higher. Doesn't need to be so low, so it's kind of a little low behind him, hit the twist and go down. If that ball's up where it's supposed to be, that's a big completion. That's why I didn't put that one down. I put it as a drop, but it's kind of an in-between for me. And then the second miss, Kittle had beat his man in the end zone. He was going to the back right corner of the end zone. The ball just sailed a little too high. He got up to get it. The ball glanced off of his fingertips. Incomplete. He was as high as he could go, and the pass was just a little bit higher. So ends up as an incompletion for him there. Eric, thank you. He says 4,990 right on the ballpark. Subscribers, go ahead and subscribe to get Jack to 5. That'd be fantastic. And he says, you won't regret it, I promise. It's always a good time to get hammered. All right, Eric, I like that one. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's we're right there, right on the edge of getting to 5,000. I would expect that we're going to get over there in the next day or two. Hopefully, we'll see. Cross our fingers. The channel's been growing quite a bit over the last month, so that's been fun to see. Channel's been growing. The 49ers are growing. A lot of growth taking place here at Levi Stadium. And then real quick, I want to hit up the roster moves that took place today. The 49ers need to get down to their to 80, cut down to 80 today. To do so, they didn't. They only let go of 3 players. 2 of the moves were moving guys from one spot to another. They took Jason Verrett and they placed him on the PUP list. So Jason Verrett is now on the reserve physically unable to perform list. And then you have rookie defensive tackle Kalia Davis, who the 49ers drafted this year in the 6th round out of the University of Central Florida. He was placed on the reserve non-football injury list. The NFI list is basically the same as PUP, but because Davis's injury occurred in college, it's a different designation. So you get Davis and Verrett on the PUP NFI list. And then as far as the players who were let go, the 49ers released tight end Tanner Hudson. Hudson had a number of catches in the game on Saturday night against the Vikings. They originally acquired him after off of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice squad last season. I thought he was going to have a good shot at making the roster, but it really looks like Charlie Warner, now that he's back and he's healthy, is going to be that second guy. He was working in with the starters today. The 49ers also waived linebacker Jeremiah Gamel, and they waived injured offensive lineman Sam Schluter. Gamel and Schluter were both undrafted rookie free agents that the team brought in this season. So 49ers are now down to 80. They have the game coming up on Thursday, and then they'll be having to cut down to 53 by next Tuesday. So a lot of movement on the roster over the next 5 days. So definitely going to be some movement to track on. But like I said, to kind of recap really quick, the overall of the day, a little bit of an uneven performance from Trey Lance. There was some good, there was some bad. He had a touchdown, had an interception, had a couple of drops, had a couple of bad balls. So, it's a mix of everything. 9 of 17, that's right about where he's been, right around that 50 to 60% mark on a regular basis. And that's where we saw him today. Good day out of Dre Greenlaw. The defense had a good day. Eric Armstead with some good plays out there as well. Jason Poe getting some work with the starters, showing his speed, showing his leverage in the pass blocking side of it. Deebo Samuel with a number of catches, and George Kittle with the touchdown. So that's the day here at Levi Stadium for 49ers training camp. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Real quick, since I did get this one really quick, 420 Savage, I think mostly came in a little bit late. He said, "Did you talk about Poe yet?" I did. I talked a little bit about Jason Poe, but I'll repeat myself real quick for you. Jason Poe got some reps in with the starters. He didn't play. He played a little bit with the backups too. He played with the second team offensive line, but he got some reps with the first team offensive line, and that's good. I really like, Poe showed in practice today how quick he is at being able to get off the ball and get up to the second level on some of the run stuff that he did. Looked really good there. Looked solid in pass protection. Did get beat by I think it was I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been it's in my notes. I don't have them in front of me right now. But he did get beat on one pass rush. The guy was able to get up inside of him. The quarterback was able to move and get away from it. But yeah, no, Jason Poe continues to impress. He's playing left guard is where he was today. He's kind of rotating in with Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks was the first guy in at left guard, and they rotated Jason Poe in for a couple of snaps there, and then the seconds came in. Poe stayed in with the seconds, and then they went back to the ones, and it was back to Aaron Banks and that kind of thing. So there was a rotation there. He wasn't getting a ton of snaps, but he was getting some. And like I've said, Jason Poe for me is the most improved 49er throughout from rookie minicamp till now. I've been very impressed with him. We'll see how that continues to play out. But Jason Poe has been looking really good, and he's over there at the left side. Tualor wants to know, is there any chance they will keep Jordan Mason or will they let him go? I think there's a chance that Mason makes this team. I'm not sure how it's going to work from the roster standpoint, if they're going to keep 5 running backs plus a fullback and go with an extra guy there and maybe not carry 6 wide receivers, all those kind of things. But I think there's a chance that Jordan Mason makes this roster. I've been impressed with Jordan Mason since I've seen him. He everything about Jordan Mason is downhill. He's always attacking the line of scrimmage. He finds room to run, makes the right cuts at the right time, it seems like, runs through arm tackles. And in a lot of ways, Jordan Mason is the guy that everybody, they used a third round pick on a running back this year, on Ty Davis Price. But in a lot of ways, Jordan Mason gives them everything that they wanted in that pick of Davis Price. So it's going to be interesting to see if he makes this roster. I really like him. I think he deserves a shot. I want to see him get some carries with the ones just to see if he's able to carry it out with that group or not. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the show for today. That's my report. It was a good day overall, up and down a little bit, but the 49ers offense with a touchdown, the defense with the takeaway, a lot of back and forth between those 2 units. If you guys can do me a favor before you head out today, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and then also when you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you know when we go live, because we're going to be going live quite a bit this year. Just make sure you don't miss any of the new content or new shows that are coming up. Really appreciate that. And then last but not least, get yourselves over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. That's the Inside the 49ers blog. That's where all of my writing goes there. Once the season starts, there'll be something there on a daily basis. It's starting to ramp up now. So if you guys could check that out, I'd really appreciate it. Just want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Take care, everybody. I will be back tomorrow with a new show. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about. Probably a little bit of a preview for the game in Houston. But I'll be back tomorrow. Definitely be around on Thursday for the game. So keep it locked in here to the Jack Hammer channel. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your day on your Tuesday. Take care, everybody.